The Gate of Truth. In the sun-drenched village of Umuahia, Ada was known for her quiet beauty and hard-working spirit. She spent her mornings at the stream, fetching water in a calabash and humming soft folk songs. That was where Chuka first saw her, on a dusty path, barefoot, the sun crowning her tightly braided shuku hairstyle. He was visiting from a neighboring town, a young man with a quick smile and a charismatic ease that drew people in. When their eyes met that day by the stream, time paused. "You sing like the birds," Chuka said, watching her rinse her calabash in the clear water. Ada blushed, looked away. "Birds don't fetch water, they fly, and maybe you were meant to fly too," he replied. From that moment, the two became inseparable. Months passed, and Ada's laughter became a melody only Chuka could hear. At the New Yam Festival, the whole village came alive. Drums thundered, firelight danced, and masquerades leapt through the crowd. Ada wore a radiant Ankara gown with coral beads, her head wrap high and elegant. They danced under oil lanterns and a sky littered with stars. He whispered into her ear, "I want a life with you, Ada." She believed him. Later that night, they sat by the fire, hands intertwined, making promises too big for their young hearts to hold. But love, as pure as it felt, was not immune to weakness. Ada discovered she was pregnant not long after the festival. She told Chuka, expecting shock, but not what came next. Silence, then avoidance. Days passed. One morning, she saw Chuka walking down the path, not alone but with her closest friend, Ifeoma. They didn't see her at first. When they did, Chuka looked away. "I'm sorry," Ifeoma mumbled, but Chuka said nothing. He walked past Ada like she was wind. He left the village that week. Ada carried her shame and sorrow alone. She gave birth to a son and named him Somtochukwu, praise God. She hawked vegetables, scrubbed floors, and washed strangers' clothes, all to keep Somto in school. She never spoke of his father. To her, the past was a locked room. "God didn't forget us," she told her son, "and we don't need those who did." Somto grew up brilliant, kind-hearted, disciplined, and wise beyond his years. He worked his way to university, won scholarships, and eventually built a respected real estate firm in the city. At 28, he bought his mother a large home. "You carried me, Mama," he said. "Let this house carry you." But joy can be fleeting. Somto fell ill, suddenly and severely. In weeks he was gone. Ada wept, not just for the loss, but for all the life that would never come to pass. Her sun had set at midday. After the funeral, Ada visited the house Somto built. She had only been there once before. When she arrived, a security guard opened the gate. An old man in a faded uniform with stooped shoulders and a gravelly voice. "Good afternoon, Ma." Ada froze. That voice, those eyes. "Chuka?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. The man squinted. "Yes, do I know you?" She stepped closer, eyes filling with tears. "It's Ada, the woman you left with child." Chuka staggered back as if struck. His lips parted, but no words came. "The boy whose house you've been guarding," she said softly, "was your son." The silence that followed felt like a lifetime. Chuka collapsed onto the bench by the gate, clutching his chest. "My God! All this time! I never knew." Ada looked at him, not with anger, but a quiet sadness that only time can carve. "He didn't know who you were, but he treated you with dignity, paid you well, greeted you with respect. That was the kind of man he became." Chuka wept, not for himself, but for the son he never knew, and the life he let slip through his fingers. Ada sat beside him. "I've carried this pain for too long. I forgive you, Chuka, not because you deserve it, but because it frees me." Later, she invited him to stay. "Somto built this house for peace. Let it remain a place of peace." They lived simply after that, not as lovers or husband and wife, but as two old souls bound by regret, memory, and a shared love for the boy who taught them both the meaning of grace. Moral lesson: our early choices shape our future. What we do in youth can echo across a lifetime, for better or worse. Forgiveness brings freedom. Letting go of pain is not weakness, but the beginning of healing.